According to experts of ancient Egypt, the Sirius star system is aligned with the Queen's Chamber of the Great Pyramid of Giza and plays a significant role in ancient Egyptian mythology. It is also suggested that these beings significantly contributed to creating ancient Egypt, as well as other ancient civilizations around the world, where they served as the leaders and guides of humankind. What more do we know about these beings from Sirius and their influence upon humanity's evolution?
Sirius became a major star of orientation for the ancient Egyptians. It replaced Alpha Draconis as their pole star, essentially. They started aligning their temples to Sirius, and Sirius, in fact, was the only star worshipped by the Egyptians. They revered Orion. As we know, the three pyramids of Giza are a mirror of the three belt stars of Orion, and they revered Ursa Major, the casket of Osiris. But they worshipped the star Sirius. The reason why they worshipped is because they believed that creator beings came from Sirius and that Sirius ultimately conferred immortality. And that's why it was so important to the ancient Egyptians. The god that came from Sirius, Ptah. Well, who's Ptah? Ptah is the ancient Egyptian god of smithcraft and alchemy. He fashioned the human body. He even has a double helix in his hieroglyph. And we're developing this picture. Well, wait a minute. That's a technology. You're saying a god being came from Sirius, a divine being came from Sirius and fashioned the human body? That means he didn't create the human body from scratch. He found a primitive being, probably wandering around, and merged some of the Sirian DNA, and out pops man. That's what the Egyptians are saying. And then you ask the question, well, why would Ptah do that? Why would he come from Sirius to Earth, tweak our DNA, merge their DNA with ours, and create this new being? What is the purpose of that? Well, the answer is provided in the ancient Egyptian pyramid text, and that is Ptah came here and did this so that we could climb the ladder to heaven, to make our body a more conducive vehicle for the ascension of the soul. That is fundamental to the ancient Egyptian belief. That leads to many questions about, well, what is the nature of Ptah? Is this an actual being? He's portrayed very robotic. He's got this tight-fitting garment on. He holds his Uaz scepter, and he's got this tight skull cap on. Very often his body is covered with feathers. It's feathered because he flies, right? He's capable of ascension. And that then opens up, is this a robotic type of a being? Is this a non-physical being? Certainly he took on physicality, but what we're confronted with is the belief that this is how we got how we are. How did we go from monkey to man? Well, it was, again, Ptah. In 1976, it was Robert Temple in the Sirius mystery who first proposed that it was beings from Sirius that tweaked our DNA. He was fascinated, as many of us are, by this question. How did Neanderthal suddenly erupt 35, 40,000 years ago with this activated neocortex, capable of doing math and science and making music and creating technology? It happened literally overnight. And the Egyptian answer is, it was Ptah. It was beings from Sirius who came here and did this.
According to the peoples who actually saw them, they can materialize and be known. So, like many of extraterrestrial intelligences, they can appear and be in third-dimensional reality, although simultaneously they usually work in at least the fifth dimension, the fourth being time.
Researchers have reported that when Sirians visited Earth in the past, they interacted with the primitive hominids living here at the time. They're believed to have imparted knowledge of culture, technology, and spirituality to these early humans, guiding them towards their evolution into modern Homo sapiens.
The Syrian culture was so important for many places in different parts of the world because they would travel to these spots. Mainly, they were working with the old equator, that if you take that the North Pole before was in north of United States, the magnetical North Pole, all that territory, So that creates that the whole equator of consciousness in this planet crossed Peru, where the Nazca lines are, Bolivia, the Amazonia in Brazil, going to Green Cape, Mauritania in Africa, crossing through Egypt in the pyramids, Middle East, Persia, which is Iran today, coming back through Pakistan, India, Indonesia, and crossing in the South Pacific Ocean through the French Polynesia, and then coming up again through Easter Island, and then Peru again. So this whole territory would be touched by them. So all the pyramids that you can find in the world basically are part of a design that the Sirius people have created. And they would come and give this information to the most ancient humans so they could walk around the planet and find the specific places. That's why all the cultures of the world would be guided by the star of Sirius.
Some people think that different star nations, like the Sirians, came to Earth, had an experience, and left, and never came back. I strongly disagree. I feel that we have had a continual influence of different galactic cultures and galactic species on the planet in different areas of the world over all of the last many thousands of years. The contact experiences never stopped in the age of Atlantis. They continued on.
The important thing to know about the Sirians is that they have designed our civilization, our way of thinking. They were working with our inner self. The Sirians were designing the way we move in the planet, the way we structure our world. So they have created the first ideas of a civilization based in architecture, in religion, in political aspects. That's why we still can see some symbolisms from them, like popes had, the ancient Middle East hats, the pharaohs hats. You can see the symbolism of the Syrian people all over. Basically, they designed the way in which we are related to one another as a civilization. So to understand them, to know about them, helps us to understand why we have created these kinds of complex civilizations in the past, which is the basis, the fundamentals of all this.
I think one of the most important issues about the Sirius constellation is that it's tied into the feminine aspect of creation. That's why the Queen's Chamber points to it, the King's Chamber points to Orion. So it's the feminine aspect. It's a loving intelligence, it's a caring intelligence, it's a nurturing intelligence, it's a renewing intelligence that's present, connected with the Sirius constellation or the Sirian beings that come to this planet. Legends tell us that they have been around for many millennia and that they are positively here to help us. I believe very well could be one of those intelligences connected with the Galactic Federation who are working to help humanity even today.
The Sirians are kind of the politicians of the Confederation. That's why they help beings to build the pyramids and all the structures that opens portals, because they are basically the politicians that tries to find communication and balance in between each one of the planets that are becoming aware.
Today, I think humans are at this extraordinary precipice of becoming an interstellar species. And as we're going into that initiation, the star families are here. They're watching us, caring for us, acting like adults watching teenage kids figure out how to earn their first driver's license.
In my studies of the extraterrestrial races, I'm probably most fixated on the Sirians. I just have this innate desire to know more about Ptah. And part of the reason why that is because Ptah is the original ascension teacher on Earth, in my opinion. And I'm very much interested in this idea of ascension and how humans can transform and scale the ladder to heaven. And in my opinion, it's the Sirians that are most aligned with that. And so I'm most aligned with the Sirians for that reason.
While remnants of ancient contact with Sirians can be found in cultures from around the world, perhaps nowhere is their influence more obvious than on New Year's Day and the 4th of July. Embedded within these cultural celebrations lay a hidden celestial synchronicity. On January 1st, Earth is directly in alignment with our Sun and the brightest star in the sky, Sirius. Then again, Earth is aligned with Sirius on the day when the United States declared independence from British rule, July 4th. Both dates are intimately linked with traditions of ending one cycle and transitioning to a new one, exactly 6 months apart from one another. Might this be a coded nod to the influence of Sirius and those space travelers who left their mark with us?